guys, welcome back to the Southern Scouser. This is the Leipzig preview show. Liverpool's second leg of the Champions League last 16 tie. Currently leading 2-0, and obviously it's one of those weird scenarios where it's the home leg but we're playing away. So a neutral ground where away goals are going to count. So it's a very strange phenomenon. Mentioned in my last video that obviously Liverpool take a 2-0 lead into this game. If Leipzig were to get it back to 2-2, then obviously it potentially could go to extra time. But then a goal for Leipzig would be pretty catastrophic, as it was last season when Atletico Madrid were playing at Anfield. As soon as they got that extra goal in extra time, the away goals for all meant Liverpool needed to score twice, and yeah, the rest is history, as they say. So, interesting game. A lot of people are backing Liverpool to see the job through. As they say, it's only half time, but for me, it's very difficult to put all your faith in this Liverpool team currently on the run that they're in. Last time the Champions League came around, it was a nice break from that league form, from that rut that we were already really in. The first time this leg came around, so hopefully it will be a similar reaction, and Liverpool will see this as a fresh start again. You know, they're already 2-0 up. They're not trying to improve on league position. It's a one-off game. They go through or they go out. So fingers crossed that the boys can get up for this game. Obviously, the press conference was today. Klopp kept it very short and sweet. He started off by denying his interest in the Germany job. Joachim Low has today confirmed he'll be stepping down after the Euros. And obviously, the most famous German manager, I would probably say, is Jurgen Klopp. So, of course, he's linked to the job. So he was quick to deny any interest in the role that, he would not be free to take that job in the summer. So it looks like he's in for the long haul. I've had a few days to mellow out from that Fulham game and have a bit of perspective. I still believe he has 10 games to save his job. I think if he was to lose every game from now until the end of the season, then yeah, it's difficult to say that the players are gonna suddenly turn it round. We've mentioned that there's a lot of transfer business that really needs to be done in the summer. I think FSG will back Klopp and keep Klopp in the job. But it's a case of we might get rid of 3 or 4 and we might bring in 2 or 3, but the core of this squad, the core of this first 11 is still going to be here on day dot of the next season. All right, we're going to have Henderson, Van Dijk and Gomez back. That's going to be huge. Potentially have Fabinho back into midfield as well. So they will be like new signings because it's been so long since they've all played together in the same team. But at the same time, I feel that there are 2 or 3 positions that FSG really need to go and back Klopp. When we got Van Dijk as a centre half, when we got Alisson as a goalkeeper, I think again, we need to go and get a striker. Not play Salah through the middle, not play Firmino through the middle, who does all this great work off the ball but doesn't actually score any goals. We need a number 9, like a Haaland, like a Lautaro Martinez, that can go and score 20-25 goals a season, guaranteed in this Premier League season, and really propel us back. Back into that top 4 race currently, and potentially back towards that league title, because you would hope come next season, come a proper pre-season, that you shouldn't have as many injuries as we've had this season. Although you have to be aware that the likes of Gomez, Matip are injury prone, so they're not suddenly going to change. They're always going to be injury prone. They were injury prone before this season, and this season has just been a perfect storm, hasn't it? Everybody that is injury prone or even isn't injury prone usually has picked up an injury. Likes of Jota, likes of Van Dijk, who obviously Jota was new this season, but Van Dijk barely missed a minute of a game, let alone a month or whatever it's been this season. Injured in September time, so almost the entire season. So expect more luck with injuries next season, but I think we need to really use this as, okay, this kind of thing can happen. When we look at the Liverpool bench, it's not strong enough. It's not anywhere near as strong as Man City's. It's not as strong as Manchester United's bench, and it's not as strong as Chelsea's bench. So already a couple of injuries, and there's 3 teams probably that have a better squad than you. After that, you look at the other teams that have similar quality in terms of an 11. You've got the likes of Leicester that are up there. Obviously, they've had a few injuries now, similar to Liverpool, and they've started to struggle. West Ham are only going to improve and kick on. So there's Tottenham as well. Obviously, Bale's hit some form. Kane seems to have stayed fit for the majority of the season. Obviously, he had a couple of weeks out, but not quite the level he's been at before. He tends to miss, months on end. So they'll improve, they'll strengthen, and it looks like Jose's turned their form around as well. So everyone's kind of leaving us behind. Everton miles ahead of us. It's really sad to see, but yeah, fingers crossed this Champions League can bring a bit of hope back into this squad, a bit of belief, and they can maybe use it as a catalyst into the next Premier League games. Wolves coming up on the Monday night, which we've normally done all right at. We normally go there and get a result, but in this current form, it's going to be a very very tricky game. Um, Other than that, yeah, Klopp mentioned the Germany job. He didn't really have a lot else to say, to be completely honest. Injury wise, Firmino missed training, I believe, so he's a potential doubt. I know he missed the last game through injury. So after that, Gini Wijnaldum took to the stage and stepped into the press conference, which was really interesting, really refreshing to see a player answer some questions on the recent form, rather than just the manager, who obviously Klopp has just faced the media, the same questions, week after week, after loss after loss. So to hear it from Gini Wijnaldum was quite refreshing. And the fact that he actually admitted that, yeah, he loves the club. Everybody's really disappointed. He's not looking to effectively leave for a specific reason, other than he still obviously deep down feels he's not been offered a contract he deserves. He's turning 30. I imagine FSG aren't determined to give him the length of contract that he feels he deserves. So he wants, yeah, he's saying, give me that 2 to 3 year deal, because otherwise I can get it from somewhere else, probably on a better wage than I can get here. So I understand. I think Barcelona is the obvious choice. Whether Koeman will be there by the end of the season into next season remains to be seen. But yeah, if there's a team out there in the Champions League that's prepared to give him a 2 to 3 year deal, and we're only prepared to maybe give him a 1 or a 2, um, obviously wages as well come into it. I don't think Gini Wijnaldum would leave if we missed out on the Champions League. I don't think he's actively looking to leave the club, but I feel that he feels he's not been offered a fair deal compared to what some of the other players at this team are on. He's not the only person turning 30. Most of this squad are knocking on the door of 30, or have just stepped into that bracket. So for me, yeah, if you've got the opportunity to keep Wijnaldum, you keep Wijnaldum. We had a very similar story with Emre Can a couple of years ago, and yeah, he wanted to actively leave, didn't he? He wasn't given a reason as to why he wanted to go, other than, yeah, I want to change the scenery. It wasn't a contract issue. He let it run all the way down because he wanted to move up in the world. He felt that Juventus was a step in the right direction, and it backfired pretty much. He wasn't in their plans in terms of first team, so he now finds himself at Dortmund, funnily enough. So into that Leipzig preview then, really looking at the lineup. Obviously the Fulham game, I did predict that Jota would come in, but everything else was pretty much wrong, because he made 7 changes, which was pretty unprecedented for Klopp, especially lately. He's stuck with the same team, the same players, and hoped that it would change. He's almost gone too much the other way and made too many changes at once, and I think that's what upset the team's balance against Fulham. Fabinho could come on in midfield and we looked a lot better, but I think by then the damage was done, and for now, the front three aren't scoring goals. So in terms of a lineup prediction, I'm going to have a crack at it anyway. You would think it's a little bit more predictable in the Champions League because it's a do or die. With the Premier League, all right, we're falling behind, but most of the time that's the place where you would rotate, because you've got 38 matches. With a Champions League game, if you rotate, you might not be in the next round. So I think it will be a bit more of an easier, predictable lineup this time round. Alisson, I'm going to go for it, obviously, in goal. I think Robertson continues. I think Trent comes in back into right back in place of Nico Williams, who he already replaced towards the end of the last game. I think Fabinho comes back into centre half alongside Kabak if he's fit. Obviously, he also missed the last game. If Kabak misses out, I would expect to see probably Phillips rather than Williams play in this game. Although Williams did play in the Champions League group stages because Phillips wasn't registered. Phillips was registered for the knockout stages. So yeah, Phillips or Kabak, but I think Kabak should be able to shake off a knock. I think it was only minor. So Fabinho and Kabak will be my centre back pairing. Midfield is usually the hardest to predict because there's the most players in that position. Obviously Milner came in last game, Keita came in last game, Chamberlain came on against Chelsea and then didn't kick a ball against Fulham. So it's a difficult one. I think Wijnaldum came off in that game, so I'd expect to see him continue, especially if he's in the presser. You think that he would be involved. Um, Thiago, I think, will come back in. He didn't play against Fulham, so I can't see him not playing 2 games in a row. I think Curtis Jones comes back into the team, who, as I said before, has been our best player for the last month, really. I was really surprised to see him come off after an hour against Chelsea and then not feature whatsoever against Fulham. Was, yeah, really shocking compared to, there's a lot of players that aren't informed, at least play the ones that are. So yeah, I see Jones, Wijnaldum and Thiago, which has been kind of the go-to midfield for the majority of the last couple of months. And then up front, as I say, I think Firmino probably isn't quite ready for the first team, so expect to see Mane, Salah, and Jota as the front three. Again, difficult to predict the kind of order that they'll be in. Obviously Salah wasn't brilliant through the middle last the weekend, so potentially Salah on the right, Mane on the left, and Jota through the middle. Jota has done some nice work in Europe, playing that kind of central role up the top. He got a hat trick didn't he, against Atalanta in the group stage. So that would be my prediction for the lineup. In terms of Leipzig, obviously it's difficult to predict because I don't watch German football on the weekly basis, but I would think a very similar team to what they played against us in the first leg. They were blaming really the loss on individual errors, which Wijnaldum related to as we kind of made them make errors by the way we were playing, the way we were pressing, and I think that's literally the key. I think we were looking to. It's a different style of play in Europe, and I feel that Liverpool more this season, and the more that they've been developing in terms of the area they've been looking to improve in. They brought Thiago in to have this more possession style of play. I believe that works more in the Champions League than it does in the Premier League. So I think that's why we've had a little bit more success. All right, there's been blips. We lost to Atalanta at home, who are a good team. But for me, yeah, if we go out tomorrow night, then it's last chance saloon, isn't it, for Klopp in terms of trophy wise? Even if we do go through, you're going to have a PSG, a Bayern, a Man City, a Juventus, one of these big teams in the next round. So I wouldn't back us against one of those kind of teams in a two-legged game, especially if we can do the usual home and away rather than 2 neutral stadiums. But I think we've got enough for tomorrow. Whether or not we'll win the game on the night is another thing. I think potentially a 1-1, something like that. I don't think there's going to be loads and loads of goals. Obviously, Leipzig have got to go for it, but they know that if they let another one in, then it's a big task. So I think Leipzig will score because they have to risk scoring at least one goal. But I think they'll leave themselves open again, going for that second goal, and I think that's where we can really get that killer blow on the counter attack. If we play a similar style to how we played in the first leg, we were looking for longer balls rather than a slow build up. We were looking for Salah and Mane on the break, ball over the top, and Jota basically works off the same kind of style. Whereas Firmino or Origi, they like the ball to feet, and it slows the game down quite a lot. So it will be good to see those front three together. Quite pacey. We've got Wijnaldum in there, we've got Jones in there, and we've got Thiago in there. Slightly different makeup to what was made us so successful last year, but Fabinho is needed in the back, and Henderson is obviously injured. So that's my predicted 11. My predicted score is 1-1. I back the Reds to go through in this game, hopefully without the need of extra time. I don't think I could take it. And fingers crossed they get back to not necessarily winning ways on the night, but they can build from this success of going through. Gives them a bit of a breather and a reminder that this team is here to stay, and Klopp can hopefully kick on from there, finish strongly in the Premier League season, and then really kick on in the summer if he does decide to stay, which looks more and more likely. Bringing in that one or two, first 11 team player, and really kind of shipping out this kind of deadwood that even when they're called upon, they're either injured or they're not effective. The likes of Origi, Shaqiri we probably could do better than him. Minamino's out on loan, Keita's in and out, Chamberlain's in and out. 2 of the 3 centre backs are injury prone, so I think there's a lot of work to be done in the summer. But as I say, 10 games plus this one to really kind of turn this round before the end of the season, and potentially a quarter final on the horizon in the Champions League. So everything else from there, I think, is a bonus. This has been the Southern Scouser, guys. Take care, and I will see you soon.